Good day, my fellow shield brothers, sisters, and non-binary cousins. My name is Blade, and I'm gonna just say right now, I'm enjoying the beta so far. The gameplay you see here in the background is my first match. Currently playing on Rust, and you guys might notice something a little problematic. And particularly, it's at the top left corner of the screen, right next to the mini map. This little thing called packet burst. You know, that thing that's been plaguing COD for a number of years now. I'm gonna just say right off the bat, like that is by far the biggest killer for this beta. I don't like how that's still an issue. I think that is a problem they need to remedy like as fast as possible. Not that they probably will, because I mean it is COD we're talking about here, but since it is Sledgehammer, I am actually kind of impressed with the level of feedback that they're giving about our feedback that we've given them. And I like that they've made some changes to it. But that out of the way, I just want to, share my thoughts about the beta, talk about some of the things that tie in and how my basic general experience has been. It's actually not that bad, like the gameplay is actually really fun. I think this is, and again, this is just a beta, like this, nothing is final, but just based off of what I played, underneath all of the underlying issues like packet burst, latency, which you'll find all throughout the gameplay, is that there's a lot of latency issues too. But I think the game itself is actually really good. The gameplay is fun. The guns are really fun to shoot. I like that, unlike MW2, I can actually see who I'm shooting at. Thank you to Sledgehammer, by the way, for actually putting nameplates on the enemies for once. And I think generally this is a very fun game. I mean, I'm actually very pleasantly surprised by how this beta is actually playing. And I like ranking up and everything. I like how fast and snappy everything is. And yeah, but other than that, I just want to talk about some of the issues first, and then we'll probably get into some of the better things about it. So right away, like I said, the latency and packet burst is a massive issue. Throughout the gameplay, you're going to be seeing like my game is stuttering. I'm going to be kind of teleporting some places. The game is going to run a lot slower than it is compared to earlier in the footage, and that's going to be happening repeatedly. And I think it definitely took me out of the experience for a little bit. It just isn't fun to deal with this sort of thing. But other than the latency, the guns in the gunplay are very fun. It's funny because I actually found myself wanting to play this continuously more and more the more time I spent in it. As far as I know, and from what I've experienced, the SBMM isn't too bad. I mean, I've been having some pretty good games, more so than usual, compared to the other betas I played. Most of the other betas I played have had terrible SBMM issues. Now, I'm sure it's different for everyone, because SBMM is it kind of depends on the player and how good they're doing, how bad they're doing. But I would say I'm not doing too bad this game for my first time in the beta. I will say, whenever there isn't packet burst or latency variation, it runs very smoothly. I'm actually very impressed by that. Guns in the gunplay are very nice. It's actually way more fun to shoot things than it is in the previous game, which I will commend Sledgehammer for doing. The guns feel way better, and I love the fact that you can shoot while sliding, which slide canceling being brought back is also another plus. It's another W. The maps that we have right now: Favela, Estate, Rust, Skid Row, and High Rise. I think I might have missed another one. I haven't really played on the Ground War playlist because I'm not a Ground War person. I only really care about 6v6, either that or free for all. But from the maps that I have played, I do have some issues with, like, Favela, for example. I don't think Favela plays all that well. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I mean, Favela is by no means a bad map. It's actually very great. All the maps that we have played so far are great. I mean, they're classics for a reason. Estate, I'm actually surprised to see that map return because we haven't seen it in years. I want to say since like COD 4 or something. So I am a little rusty on Estate. especially because I haven't played on that map in years and I completely forgot the layout. But Rust, as you see right here, plays very well. There is a little bit of an issue with the spawns and everything. I think the spawns really need to be tweaked because sometimes I found myself a lot of the time spawning the exact same spot over and over and over again for like 12 times in a row, and sometimes I'll find that enemies have actually spawned behind me and I'll die as soon as I spawn because I just got shot in the back. That's just an issue. I think the spawns are not good whatsoever. For Skid Row, I think Skid Row is fine and everything. Obviously they did add like some other avenues of, you know, spotting enemies, shooting them and everything. They added a few new doors here and there, but other than that, it's not that bad. For High Rise, there's a little bit of footage I want to show here. In the middle of recording gameplay on High Rise, I actually noticed that someone went on one of the scaffoldings and went to the side of the building, and I was just in awe the entire time I saw that. So I'm glad that with the return of High Rise, they brought that whole function back. I think the last time they brought High Rise back, it didn't have that function, and I don't know, something was messed up about the versatility of that map, but I'm glad to see that make a return. The perks and the kill streaks I think are very good as well. I appreciate that. I forgot the name of this particular kill streak, but it seems like they definitely took a page out of BO2's book and they just essentially brought back what is very literally the hunter killer drone. I found it was kind of off-putting to get killed by that all of a sudden because it wasn't like a bomb drone where you could just manually fly it around, but it was straight up a modern hunter kill drone and everything. So that was fun. The perks I think are also very nice. I'm glad that they put Dead Silence there as a perk. They actually took the heavy footsteps from previous Modern Warfare games and then made that into a perk as well. I find that to be a little interesting design, and I do like the idea of the tactical vest. Like, for example, on one of my builds, I don't have access to lethals because one of the combat vests they can put on gives you an extra tactical at the cost of lethals. And I think that's a very interesting change. I do like that, honestly, because it kind of reminds me of that one perk from COD 4. Gave you an extra tactical, I think it was. I think what it was it gave you an extra tactical but no lethals. Or if not similar to that, I mean, I think it probably gave you like 2 of both. I'm not sure, I can't remember for the life of me, but kind of harkens back to those days, to that perk in COD 4. Actually, yeah, there were 2 separate perks where it gave you 2 lethals, and there was one where they gave you 2 tacticals. So I like that the combat vest has that. I want to get to the UI next, because the UI, I'm gonna just say, man, it's virtually the exact same thing. It's the exact same as Modern Warfare 2, and I don't understand why. I mean, I do, because this is essentially just repackaged DLC, but at the same time, I would think that they would make at least some heavier changes. I mean, lobby list is back, which I'm very happy about. Map voting is back. I'm also very happy about that. And I'm actually happy to see lobbies seem to stay. There were a lot of disbanding lobbies still, but I noticed I still had some of the same players on my team and on the enemy team the next match I played, so that's a good surprise. I'm happy about that, and I do absolutely love that you can actually see who's in your fucking lobby this time around, because having to press another button just to see who was in your lobby was a very big issue. I think that's probably one of the worst UI decisions they've ever made in that game. But as far as I can tell here, there isn't a huge overload of Hulu type Hulu and Netflix type UI, which it's better. I mean, I can't deny it's better. But yeah, and look at the gameplay. I'd say I did pretty well. I actually think I carried this entire team, come to think of it, because I had most time on the objective. But I'm getting sidetracked. Point is, UI is almost virtually the exact same thing. I don't like that. I think they need to do a massive overhaul when the game releases. I think there's quite a few, like, even minor changes they need to make. Like, once again, I'm very sad to see the lack of emblems and calling cards and everything. Of course, this is a beta, so obviously we aren't getting everything, but it's still unfortunate to see that there's more of the same. And I'm speaking as a member of the LGBTQ community. I do appreciate the inclusion here and the fact that we're actually getting recognition, but at the same time, I don't like that it's at the cost of more interesting calling cards and emblems. I don't really like that. Is it pandering? I don't know. I don't know, and I don't really care for the most part. But the player base, from what I've seen, is actually pretty toxic, as to be expected. I found myself sometimes, not all of the time, not oftentimes, but sometimes I've been in lobbies where I just had a front row seat to all the entire like roasting things. There was a there was a kid who was just blasting his music and just singing terribly into his mic, and I remember telling him to, like, hey, you dude, shut the fuck up, like, shut your bitch ass up. I told him that in lobby, and I heard another guy on his team just laugh his ass off as soon as I said that, and next thing you know, like, we win the match, and that's that. So I'm it's very entertaining whenever that stuff does happen. Like I said, it doesn't happen often, but it does. When it does happen, it's very entertaining, and I get a good kick out of it. But other than that, I want to say beta itself, it's not looking too good. I mean, and the only reason I say that is because of the packet burst, once again. Other than that, I think this is genuinely the best COD we've gotten in years. Out of the past 4. I think this is the best one that we've gotten so far. Now, obviously, we'll just have to wait until the actual game releases to see if that statement will hold up for me. I'm enjoying my time here, and surprisingly enough, this is a game that I can actually see myself grinding out. I can see myself actually grinding this game out more than I have the past 3 or 4. And to me, that's all that matters. Is it worth $70? I don't think so. I think if you really want to buy into this game, I'd say wait at least a week. Wait until Season 1 drops. And if that doesn't strike your fancy, then I'd say the best scenario is to just wait until Christmas time whenever this game goes on sale. I don't know what's going to cost around Christmas time. I don't know what the sale is going to look like. But overall, I don't know if I would recommend this game to anyone. Unless you're like an extremely hardcore fan of the series. But even then, I'd say just wait until this game goes on sale. I don't think it's worth the $70. I think a lot of the vocal COD community seems to agree on that. I wouldn't recommend buying this until they at least do something about the packet burst issue. And keep in mind, it's not my internet that's doing this. I have very good internet. I have like 500 something megabyte speed downloads, and that's on average. I have very good internet. So the fact I'm having latency issues, the fact that I'm having packet burst issues, despite all that, is just atrocious. But yeah, so I'm just kind of giving my pure, like, raw, honest thoughts on the game. I'm not going off like a script or anything. I do have some bullet points jotted down about what I was going to talk about, but that's about it. So if you guys like this sort of thing from me, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and until next time, I'll see you guys on the battlefield. Peace.
You go no further, unless your sword arm is greater than mine.
Wonderful. Now, let's do what we came here to do.